One of the big headliners on Capitol Hill this week, and of course one of the original 8 members to the January 6th special committee. Welcome back, Congressman Adam Schiff. How are you?
I'm good. It's great to be with you.
Well, one of the big questions that still remains on the special House committee for the January 6th insurrection is if House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy will appoint 5 members or will he boycott it. What do you think he's going to lean on this one when it comes to appointing the 5 Republican members?
Well, the latest rumors are that he fully intends to appoint members to the Select Committee, but who those members will be is a mystery. It really depends on whether he wants to appoint serious people that can work with us to get to the truth in terms of what led up to January 6th, what happened on that day, and what we need to do to protect the country going forward, or whether he wants to appoint people who he hopes will make a circus out of it or turn it into some kind of a political food fight. I hope it's not the latter, but he didn't want a commission to begin with because Donald Trump didn't want a commission to begin with. So we'll have to see what kind of appointments that results in.
You know, a lot of people are wondering, with this committee, what are you specifically looking for? And 2, will lawmakers and the former president be subpoenaed?
Well, in terms of what we're looking for, we want to examine all of the events that contributed to that bloody attack on the Capitol. Who was behind it? What kind of organization did they have? What kind of funding? We know some of these right-wing extremist groups, these white nationalist groups, were involved, but there was a lot of planning that went into that attack. We also want to know why we didn't see it coming when there was so much discussion of this played out in the open in social media. Why was the intelligence lacking? Did we share the intelligence that we did have? Why did it take so long to call up the National Guard and bring reinforcements to the Capitol? Why were Capitol Police so ill-prepared? And most important, what do we do to protect that place in the future, and not just the U.S. Capitol, but capitals around the country? So those are some of the very big questions that we hope to answer, and we would like to do this in a bipartisan or nonpartisan way, and ideally produce a report like the September 11th Commission did that comes to be relied upon by the public and whose recommendations can help keep us safe.
Lastly, on this special committee, how long will the House committee here have this investigation go on? And 2, will the former president have immunity?
In terms of how long it'll take, I don't think we'll probably get the work done this calendar year, so my expectation would be that it would go into next year. In terms of, getting to your questions about the president, members of Congress, will they be subpoenaed? We really haven't had those discussions yet because, in part, we're waiting to have our full complement of members. But we want to act expeditiously, and we also want to follow the evidence wherever it leads. Our chairman, Benny Thompson, has basically said nothing and no one is off the table. So we intend to pursue this with diligence and allow the facts to guide us in terms of our direction.
I want to get to some world affairs now, and obviously you're on the Armenian caucus, and when the last time we had you on, we were talking about how President Biden was the first president to formally recognize the Armenian genocide, but since then he turned around, gave aid to Azerbaijan following the war in Nagorno-Karabakh, and then pretty chummy with the Turkish President Erdogan over at the NATO summit. How should Armenians, 1, view all of this, and 2, will that Armenian fund finally get through Congress, and will President Biden sign off on it?
Well, in terms of the Armenia Fund, or the funding that we've put in the appropriations bill, it's about $50 million that would go to Armenia to help Armenia with its infrastructure needs and its humanitarian needs, but also help those in Artsakh, help the resettlement, help feed and clothe and house people. There's another $2 million for demining operations around Artsakh. That's a substantial appropriation for Armenia and Artsakh. I think the president will support it. We still have to get it through full passage on the House floor and then the Senate, but I'm very optimistic about it. In terms of how the community should view the president, I think that his recognition, the first time ever, or at least it's Ronald Reagan, of the Armenian genocide tells the community a lot about where his heart is. In terms of support for Azerbaijan, this has been a recurrent theme for administration after administration, both Democratic and Republican. Frankly, I don't think we should be providing them military support, and especially not after they provoked this deadly war with Artsakh and Armenia. So I think that should come to an end. I'm certainly working on lobbying the administration to bring a halt to it, and also working on legislation to tighten the restrictions in existing law that prohibit us from providing aid to Azerbaijan when they engage in human rights violations.
You know, on Thursday, as you know, President Biden has said we're going to end the longest war in U.S. history. That is the war in Afghanistan, bringing troops home. Full speed ahead. August 31st is that final cutoff date. Do you agree with the president that no troops should be present in that area as the Taliban, as you know, is reemerging and in big numbers?
I think the president made the right decision to draw down our troops. Look, we've been there for 20 years. It's not as if we haven't stayed and tried to build up the strength of the national government, but at the end of the day, the Afghan people have to decide that they are willing to fight and defend that government against the Taliban, and we can't do that indefinitely. So I think it's the right decision. I think we should continue to provide material support to the Afghan government, and we're going to obviously continue our counterterrorism work and keep a close eye on both the Taliban, Al-Qaeda, ISIS, or any other group or organization that poses threat to the United States. But at a certain point, you have to conclude that you can continue doing the same and you can't expect a different result. And after 20 years, I think that's where we are. And to protect the lives of our service members and without appreciable hope of changing the direction of that conflict, I do think it's the right time to draw our troops down.
Congressman Adam Schiff, we welcome you back anytime here on Sunday Morning Matters, and we appreciate your time.